All right, well, good.
Welcome back to New Society Podcast. So we are live again this time. We're going to be taking comments from TikTok and YouTube the same way that we were last time. So yesterday we did a live. We didn't do it for Spotify, but we did it for, just our audience and everything. And we got, without unprovoked, just tons of relationship questions. Sometimes it turns into things about meditation and things like that, which I find interesting because we're not even trying to lead it in any kind of way, and that's just where it goes. So there's definitely some stuff that from last time I remember I wanted to talk about, some more societal things, but first, I was going to talk about how absolutely outrageous these Instagram comments are getting. Like I have some screenshots. So it just every platform just has this complete different audience. TikTok is like women supporting, and then for the most part, there's even a lot of men that say like, "Yeah, I do that too."
Right.
When I'm talking about some of the psychology behind things that men do, and but Instagram for some reason the guy like it's it's one thing when guys disagree, but these
hmm
men have been extremely nasty, actually. And it makes me a little bit concerned for, you know, the world or America. I mean, they're all commenting in English, so I'm assuming they're American.
Yeah, it's a little weird how skewed it is, like on your Instagram, how bad it is as
Yeah.
opposed to TikTok.
And
Like
don't
it's
get
just
me
like,
wrong, I still have a lot of women agreeing, and obviously those who are liking it and sharing it because I have just nonstop the shares. It was really surprising to me. But, these men are really to the point where it's like extreme red pill, conservative. Like this one guy was saying that the study that I said about men being reinforced by an angry face,
hmm
which, by the comments, at one point I was like, wow, maybe I was kind of mean. And then I rewatched the video and I'm like, no, I was being so direct about the fact that they get reinforced by seeing an angry face as long as it doesn't last too long, but they
for
don't
sure.
want to listen to that.
Yeah, yeah. I just anyone joining, just we're answering questions. So I'm watching the comments. So if you want to ask Kasi anything, just go for it.
Yeah, go ahead and ask me. But in the meantime, I'm just talking about like
Angry
in
man.
these insane comments. So a lot of what I'm seeing, they're saying, oh, women should not be allowed to speak unless spoken to. Women like this shouldn't be allowed to vote. Um,
Women like this isn't women just
Women like me
talking about
that
a study.
yeah, that I'm talking about a study.
Someone said, sorry, just not to
Go
interrupt.
ahead.
What's her skincare? She's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Skincare.
not gonna share
Oof.
anything?
I could go into skincare.
Go ahead.
I'll do it quick. And honestly, it all came from TikTok because I really didn't like, okay, well, retinol um, from the dermatologist. Okay. Paula's Choice exfoliant and toner is the most amazing thing I've ever used in my life. And then there is this, and I just do
I'm
like,
nodding like I know what you're talking about, but
yeah, I mean, no, you know your skincare stuff too. Oh, and then La Roche-Posay moisturizer, sometimes rosehip oil. But I think foundation is like a huge thing. So I saw this girl talking about like, I don't know if you guys know this, like the Asian like skincare and beauty stuff is like for some reason so much better than American. And I used to be paying like $40 for an ounce of Armani foundation, and it just like still makes your face kind of dull.
right.
And then I started using this BB cream from Korea, and it's like $11, but it's like second skin, like it's so much better. It's like way glowier. And
Yeah.
also like self tanner as a base, as like a mostly as like contour.
Interesting.
But I digress.
So I kind of messed up with the placement of this banner on TikTok, just FYI. The question says, "What's making you unhappy right now?"
Does it
So if
just
you
say
guys have
make
any
me unhappy?
relationship questions or anything about general unhappiness, like let us
Yeah.
know. We're recording this podcast live, so
Yeah.
it'll actually be going out on Spotify and YouTube.
So you'll be famous after this. Um, what was I talking about?
The men on the
The
comments.
men in
Yeah.
the comments. Yeah, it's just like, I'm concerned, and honestly, some of it makes me feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't say things. But I'm like, the women that are dealing with these issues are dealing with it from these exact type of men.
For sure,
So
yeah.
I'm not like doing anyone any favors by not saying what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
But
100%.
it's so bad.
I mean, some of them are just like actual misogynistic
Yes.
comments, and it's crazy to me because it's like one thing to do it on TikTok, but they're very openly doing
Yeah,
it
they
on
just it's like
Instagram.
straight
Like your
like
profiles are out there too.
yeah, like
Like they don't
I'm
care.
looking at the picture of you and your wife and dog.
Yeah, it's insane. I see some of them.
Yeah.
It's nuts. I think you want to touch on like men acting smug
Oh,
during
okay.
arguments.
So I thought it was really interesting, and I started talking about it yesterday. Should I mention the ultimatum?
No,
Okay.
it's gonna take
You
too
guys
long.
can check it out yourself. But it triggered me seeing just when, and this is the same type of guy in the comments, and it literally is proving what I was saying about this study, that they get pleasure out of seeing you pissed off, and they'll have this smug little look on their face after they've done something to piss you off, which is, it's just, I really can't think of anything more infuriating than a man doing something to make a woman upset and then smirking about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But the reason they do it is because, I don't know if I talked about it on this podcast or not, but the study was that men are reinforced by seeing an angry face on another person as long as it's for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And the study was very clear about that. The more testosterone you have, the more likely you are to do it. And if you don't have high levels of testosterone, it's the complete opposite. You see an angry face and it makes you feel bad. It makes you feel threatened. But they feel the complete opposite. So then they're doing this thing where they're just like smirking, like, oh yeah, I got a rise out of her. It's just like complete bully behavior. And there was actually this therapist that commented on it and said, you know, in response to one of the men that were telling me that this is complete BS and blah, 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 calling me names, calling me fat Lady Gaga.
Wow.
I'm a chubby Lady Gaga. And some woman
funny.
commented on it and was like, you are way chubbier than this woman. And I'm sorry, chubby, like, I gained a few pounds in Greece, but I'm not chubby.
No, you're not chubby.
But this is the thing, that they're like telling me in the comments how wrong I am, that there's no way men don't like to piss off women. But in doing that, saying nasty, horrible things to me to try and piss me off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is that not the most hypocritical thing you've ever heard in your life?
It's ridiculous.
And I try and point it out to them. Oh, you know what one of them said? Don't take it so hard. It's a joke, not a...
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm just in shock that they're able to actually put their faces out there and say these things.
I should like
it's so
screenshot
crazy.
it and send it to their wives and be like,
Screenshot it and just like put it on your story so everyone can see or something. I don't know.
yeah.
No, maybe not. Maybe
No,
not.
because then they won't know who this person is. It would only be, yeah. No, I'm sending it to their wives from now on. Watch out in the comments.
No, it's
Going straight
wild.
to your wife.
But you were talking about like them acting smug during arguments too, not just
Well, that's
after you know pissing you off.
But yeah, no, it's, I think the reason that men do that, like get that little smug look on their face, like during the argument, is because they are getting the pleasure from the angry face.
Right.
But they're thinking that what it is I'm so smart, she's so crazy. And like the mocking.
Yeah,
Unreal.
I didn't see it firsthand, weirdly enough, until that episode of The Ultimatum.
Really?
And I was just like, damn, it's a little wild.
Yeah, it's
just
wild.
like, oh, you know, the guy was saying like, oh no, you can't handle an argument, almost like in a mocking way.
Yeah.
I didn't even know people were doing this.
Yes. You have no idea how immature and just awful.
Because they would never do it to me. Like they would
Yeah.
never do it to another man.
Yeah.
I feel like they would only do it to a woman because they feel like have power over them in some way, right?
Yes, and that's what he was saying, or that's what she said in response to him doing it. Because she didn't even get mad, and I was just like, I love this woman. She did not get mad, and she was just like, this is what you did to your ex, isn't it? To make her feel powerless. And she was like, you're not gonna make me feel weak. And he was like, or that doesn't make me feel weak. And he said, oh, I think it does. Blatantly.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
For anyone that's joining, we're watching the comments, by the way. So if you have questions about relationships and stuff, send them over.
But the other thing I wanted to talk about, because we got talking about this last weekend when some woman thought that we were having an argument. But
my God.
Yeah, that was insane. This is the other thing that's going on. This
racism.
Insane racism, apparently.
Yeah, so we were in Block Island, which for her birthday, and we're just sitting there talking about Neuralink, having an intelligent debate about it.
Like, it was, I actually felt like I was having at a beach, smart conversation.
Yeah, for sure. At this beach bar, and there was this older white lady that's just like grilling us.
Yeah, I thought she was just interested in the conversation, to be honest.
Yeah. And then I see her walk into the bar to the bartender and just saying, I don't like that. And looking dead at us, looking dead at me. And I'm like, no way there's actual racism happening
it's just
this
like
blatantly
so
right now.
crazy to actually see it.
Yeah, and then calls you a hooker.
Yes.
To the bartender.
Said that you're
We found this out later. Yeah. So there's no way that there could be interracial dating unless I'm paying for her in her eyes, and she doesn't like that.
Yeah.
But it was so insane, and she was so drunk that they're like, we couldn't do anything but laugh, and the bartenders like got her kicked out with security and everything. But unbelievable.
I don't know what's going on in the world.
But were you trying to bring up Neuralink?
Oh, I wanted to bring up Neuralink. So explain Neuralink, because I think this is insane. I don't know anyone that knows what this is.
So basically it's this chip that they're currently testing. They just got approved for human trial testing, and recently a woman was able to talk for the first time. A paralyzed woman was able to talk for the first time because of a chip implanted in her brain, and that was feeding signals to,
like a computer?
Yeah, basically it records your brain signals, right? And you're able to do things with it. Like, for example, you can look at a TV, you can look at your computer, and if you have this chip in your brain, which is as crazy as it sounds, you're able to like control the mouse on the screen just by thinking about where the mouse is moving, right? And this is the first iteration of it.
Yeah.
So this is under human testing now. They've already tested it with monkeys, and monkeys were able to move around, play Pong on the computer and things like that.
So it's not tracking the eye movement, it's like just
No, it's tracking your brain. It's not eye movement at all.
Are they using has AI kind of like accelerated?
It's accelerated it, I'm sure. But what, the eventual goal is, and what we were talking about is, you're going to have this chip in your brain, and you're going to be able to basically access the internet, let's say, right? So, or access ChatGPT or like an encyclopedia or whatever. Yeah. So you imagine just having all the knowledge that you could search up on the internet, but instead of actually searching, you can just think about it and it'll just come to you, right? So this is like right now we're doing it in a way, right? If you're talking to someone and you don't know something, everyone, even your mom and your uncles are like, hey, let's look it up.
Yeah.
Like, let me look it up. They pull out Google, whatever. And
like, how would the information come back to you? Like, as a thought?
Well, that's the thing. Right now it's just outputting. So you're able to, you're thinking. So it's reading your brain signals, the electrical impulses or whatever, to control the mouse, for example. But eventually it'll be able to, like send out and receive information.
Yeah.
Right. So right now we're doing it in a way of like, okay, you have to go on your laptop and type in the thing that you're looking up, whatever, and that's our interface right now, is us doing that. So once that's removed, now you just have an instant interface to that activity. So it's like kind of part of your brain.
Yeah.
It's already an extension of us in a way, right? We have our phones. So it's just like bridging the gap a little bit.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, and Amelia said the Neuralink is interesting and scary. It's like a Black Mirror episode. Absolutely.
100%.
100%.
Would you do it?
Yeah, would you do it? The crazy thing is, with that question, would you do it? And this is what we were talking about, is if everyone else does it, right? Like, let's say kids starting from, 16, they approve that you can go get a Neuralink chip. And everyone just starts to do it.
Yeah.
And you don't get it for your kid, or you don't get it. You're automatically at a crazy disadvantage in your life.
But it's just like, what do I need to do? Like, at this point in my life, I don't need to know really much more. I mean, like, I could, but my issue with it is that I feel, well, for one, I don't want to implant in my brain. Two, okay, here's my huge concern about it. This will factor into whether or not you're going to do it. If you, okay, here's what happened. We're on the ferry, and I'm thinking, like, the only thing preventing me from not just jumping off this boat right now and dying is the fact that I don't want to do that. Like, I'm choosing not to do that.
Right.
But you could have a thought that makes you do that. I mean, people do that.
Right.
They have thoughts that make them kill themselves. So if you have this chip in your brain that's supplying thoughts and information, could someone not hack into your neurochip or Neuralink, whatever, and control what you do?
Well,
and you might not even know it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it opens up a lot of crazy things. I mean, we're not going to see that part of it very soon. I mean, I would say within 10 years, though, honestly.
Yeah.
Amelia said it's giving Minority Report. We were just talking about that movie. Yeah, we just put that on the watch list, where they're able to like see the crimes before it happens.
Oh, right.
And then they go arrest the people before it happens, and it's like a whole,
It's so insane.
But I don't think we're at that point yet. But I do think that, if everyone starts to do it, then you're the people that aren't on it. Your conversations are gonna be just lesser. You're not going to be able to think further than, you're still going to be sitting there thinking about, like the little things. To everyone else is just something that's already known.
Yeah, but like, what is everyone going to be solving all the world problems with their Neuralink?
Well, see, that's the thing about it. If you took a person that's Dora, we'll get to your question in one second. If you look, if you took a person that's like really smart, let's say you took someone like Albert Einstein, and you said, okay, now I can give you all the knowledge that you need to know and research, like that instantly into your brain. How much is he going to be able to extend his, so that's exactly what it's going to lead to.
That's what I think it should be for, is people that are like scientists, and that
everyone.
makes more sense. I don't really want to have more thoughts in my head.
For the people that are joining, we're checking the comments and answering questions. So go ahead and ask any questions to Kasia about anything, honestly, or me about anything, because we're recording the podcast live today. Dora said, is it a red flag being introduced to his whole family before the first month?
I have had that happen before, and I felt so uncomfortable with it. It felt like a red flag to me, but only because he was a walking red flag. So it really depends. Sometimes it's just like, because then I had that happen with someone else, and it turned out family's just really important to him, and he wanted to make sure it was like, does this person mesh with my family? Are they the type of person that's going to allow me to prioritize my family? Right. I think that's totally normal.
You think it's normal?
As long as they're not doing it in like a really weird way.
When did you meet my family?
I met your brother after maybe like a couple months. Maybe 3 months or something.
Well, I'm very like secretive about my life to people, so I guess I'm a little bit different. I don't think you should consider it a red flag unless you see other red flags.
Yeah, what are the other red flags? That's what I want to know.
NA said, I'm unhappy because my partner does not treat me emotionally as he should in a relationship.
Yeah, I bet. That's so what types of things does he do? Because, we've obviously talked a lot about the things that men tend to do that make women feel like unloved and angry and everything like that. Especially because biologically they just aren't um, wired the same way that women are in terms of communication and just emotional intelligence a lot of times. So let me know the specifics.
Yeah, and I think, there's just a lot of that going around
Hmm.
about, you know, men not being able to show emotions and all that.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I
you
mean, they
talk about
say
that.
so much, like they all use the excuse like, oh, well, when we were being raised, we weren't allowed to be like that. But I think it's more so like whatever they are deciding and whatever they're taking in, it's kind of, like you were saying about these YouTube algorithm black holes that men are getting into with,
Yeah, yeah. There's like,
I still haven't looked into it.
and
I'm afraid
honestly,
to.
I don't even think you should look into it. And I say this all the time. The YouTube algorithm and like probably the TikTok algorithm, just social media algorithm for men is so vicious and like vicious for them. It's just toxic.
Hmm.
It's people, preaching manipulation tactics to keep women, on the hook.
Hmm.
What did one guy say that you need to have
Yeah,
her on
he
an
said
emotional roller
he
coaster?
said if your woman is not on an emotional coaster, then she's going to lose interest, basically. Like
Yeah,
you can't keep a woman unless she is constantly,
and
which
this
is
is
just so like what type, okay, maybe there's some girls out there that like need a little drama. So that's the type of girl you want then?
yeah. I mean,
Like that's
it's
what
all
you
messed
deserve
up.
at that point. If that's the type of like view you have on relationships, then you guys deserve each other. I don't know, but like any normal woman does not want that. Like
Hmm.
that's insane. Honestly, to me, it just seems like a crutch. Like if you don't have enough of a personality, then you need to be toxic to someone to keep them. And maybe that's why
Yeah,
some men are that way, like you know,
keep them interested
to
in their
keep them
minds.
interested.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in their
because
minds for
like
sure.
otherwise they might get hurt.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Um, let's see, social media marketing coach. What's making me unhappy is that the job market is a scam.
That's true.
That's very true.
So
That's very
I
true.
I'd be curious, like from your standpoint, how you feel about that. But I mean, especially now with like AI kind of taking over everything.
Yeah,
Um,
I have some thoughts about that
I'm
whole
sure
AI
you do.
situation. I mean, my thoughts about the AI
Yeah.
situation.
Which I think we've
Like,
talked about on here
They
before,
said
but
they said I think by like 2027 or
seven.
2028 or something like that, we're gonna lose almost 30% of labor
Hmm.
jobs to AI, and it's just gonna get so bad.
Yeah.
And I think that the government has to realize maybe after a little bit of chaos that they need to step in and actually give people monthly payments, basically just a basic income
Yeah.
for things to just be better. Alley Cat said, "What are your views on polyamory?"
I think it's way better than people cheating. I think that they aren't really aware that there's certain types of other relationships out there. So they just cheat, like as if it's a type of relationship to have.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like if you want to do that and you're both comfortable with doing that, sure. Is it easy? Absolutely not.
I think
Like I
some
don't
people are built for that. Some
I
people are not built for, you know, I
yeah,
think a
some
lot of
people are
people
not
aren't
built.
built
A
for
lot of people are
monogamy.
not built for that. And you have to like yeah.
But then there's a lot that you have to um, get around, and
Mhm.
there's like a lot of emotional maturity that has to go along with that.
It's a hard thing to I don't honestly see it working a lot. It's
Hmm.
very rare to actually see a relationship that is like that
Yeah.
and working well. But yeah. Um, so NA said she was saying her partner isn't emotionally was. She said he's cold to me and doesn't want to talk.
Okay, so that's definitely a pattern that I've seen with some men, especially because, you know, something I've seen from the comments is that men don't want to feel like they're complaining. Like they hate that women complain and they nag and blah, 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 when really all that women are doing is airing out their issues because obviously, how else are you going to get past them unless you talk about it, especially if the issue is in the relationship? Um, and a lot of them will say, oh, well, you know, if I say what's on my mind, then it'll be weaponized against me,
Right.
which are just like, I'd say to you, make sure that you're, you know, making him feel like he's in a safe space to communicate. I'm kind of thinking you already do that, considering you're feeling like he's being cold. Like you don't seem like the type of person to me who would be nasty if your partner was open towards them. But a lot of times they just don't say what's on their mind, but also because they don't know, because they're not taking the time to explore it.
For sure. Yeah. Dara said, what are both of your thoughts on love bombing? What does that mean? You gotta explain that to me. I have no idea.
It's basically like in the beginning of a relationship, some people will just like shower the person with like love and affection to get them interested, and then it'll just fade away.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, do you think that's like a tactic? Have you ever seen, this was weird to me. Like, I never really saw that ever. It just, to me, it kind of became like a more recent topic that people had, but
Yeah, I've seen articles and stuff about this, but it was called something else and I don't remember. It was like a psychological thing.
yeah.
But it is honestly it is something that they say like sociopaths use
Really?
to
Sociopaths, really?
or psychopaths or
I don't know,
whatever
maybe.
use to like, they make you feel like you're the only person in the world really, really quickly
Yeah.
by doing things like that. But I've also seen the flip side of it. Like my best friend, for example, I would say he love
Right.
bombs,
Yes, but he
but
doesn't mean to. He like cannot control himself.
he can't control himself, but he also genuinely is
He feels
that
that way.
romantic,
Yeah.
and he genuinely feels that way. So you could look at it as like, oh, it's too much. And some girls that he's been with have looked at it like, oh, it's too much.
Yeah.
But he almost can't help himself.
Which is what I never understood about it, because I felt like it would be kind of like a little bit of a turnoff. So to see that people are doing it as like a manipulation is just like, okay, like I don't know who that's working on,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think sometimes it's intentional and a lot of times it is just like some people just become obsessed.
Yeah. For anyone that's joining, we're answering the comments, by the way. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask about happiness, relationships, anything. Alley Cat, about the polyamory, she said, I agree. It's new for me, but I feel we both have grown. It's very hard, but with the right person, it's worth it. Yeah, if it's working for you, that's great,
Oh, the polyamory?
Yeah.
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 I'd be curious, like, can you
luck.
share some like challenges that you have with it or like things that you foresee? Also, I want to know what are the specifics of your situation, because I know people have a lot of different types. I'm actually not even sure what the true definition of
I think it's like
just like
fully open, yeah. Having
fully
multiple
open.
partners, yeah. I
So
think so.
is it okay? Is it that you're in multiple relationships, or is it just open relationship, or sharing of any partners? Like, I'm
That's a good
curious.
question.
I need the
It's probably
I need the
different.
details.
Social media marketing coach answering you said the job market, they aren't actually hiring, or the people they are hiring are already decided internally or using the good old boy system. Yeah, I mean I don't know what the good old boy system is, but I mean I've been in business for how many years, and this is a thing. I mean especially the higher up you get, everyone moves laterally.
Internally, yeah.
Like, and it's not just internal to the company either. It's like if you're a CIO in this company,
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of just gonna be jumping around, just bumping up prices, like, you know, bumping up your salary from here to here.
Mm-hmm.
They don't actually, they'll even put out job posts. Like, for example, some companies are forced by New York State to put out job postings externally to prevent, you know, hiring
Right.
and
But don't
nepotism
they
and
kind
things
of
like
do
that.
that just to,
BS. It's just BS
yeah,
because they have to do it. And then
that's
they bring
crazy.
people in and they're like, oh, we interview people, we didn't find anyone, and here we go. It's messed up.
I can't. I feel like there's not enough jobs in the world for people. I really do wish there was like, I mean, I guess unemployment exists, but also like the price of living,
Yeah,
it's
it's
definitely
crazy.
all a scam. Especially college. What are people even going to college for anymore?
Right now, it's a bad idea.
What can you
Yeah,
go to college for right now?
that won't go away in a
Yeah.
few years. Not a lot. Joseph said, thoughts on initiation and whose responsibility it should fall on. This is
So do
interesting.
you mean initiating romance in the
I think he
bedroom?
is. Yeah,
Yeah, we've talked about that.
we've talked about
Um,
that. Yeah.
it's hard to talk about it on some forms of social media because they definitely like to uh, not push things
Yeah,
if you say the wrong thing.
and she says the wrong thing
And I
quite a
always say the
bit.
wrong thing. Like I'll say the wrong thing 10 times in a row, and then we got banned with
And she's talking about the wrong words.
the wrong words. But I really feel like it's a conversation people need to have. This
And
was actually
honestly,
a topic that I wanted to do.
we had this conversation. Oh, you don't want to talk about this?
I don't
I
know.
don't think we can get that deep into this.
Yeah, I don't know
But
if we'll go that deep. But I really do think that people should have a conversation about who they feel is the initiator and like when, because people don't want to say that. That's not like a normal topic. Like, oh, I don't like to initiate. I like when you initiate. And then you might be with a person that you both don't like initiation.
yeah, yeah. I think
But I think it's the
yeah,
person who like wants to do
wants
that
to do
more.
well.
But it's not even that. It's
It's
just like
not
whoever
because some
feels most
people
comfortable doing that. And
and some people like to be
it's gonna be
initiated
funny if
on,
this
you
is not
know?
what he meant.
No, it is what he meant. He said yes. Um, yeah, Ali. Okay, so Ali Cat said, more open for him. For me, no, and we can both share women. I don't have the desire to be with other men. I enjoy that side of him. The hard part would be understanding he has a friendship with another. He's always been poly. It's kind of cool how much growth has happened. That's a very interesting thing. I mean,
So he has like actual
yeah, is it
relationships with other
relationships
girls,
like
or is it just
girlfriends?
like, physical with them? Like, are you the main person? Do you live together? I have many questions.
It's
But no,
very
I
interesting
think
stuff.
it's honestly like maybe the most natural way to go about things, considering that men are more um, biologically inclined to want to spread their seed. So it kind of makes sense that you're less wanting to be with another man. Um, but yeah, give me the challenges. I want to know what the issues have been.
I don't
Because
think
I can
she's
imagine.
having any issues. I think she was just asking our views on it.
I know, but
Yeah.
I want to know.
You want to know if there is issues on it?
Yeah, I'm just curious.
If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to ask. So what we talk, I mean, we don't have any questions right now. So what
Oh,
we
okay.
talking?
Well, the conclusion, we never really finished the thing about the Neuralink, but if everyone had it,
Mhm.
I mean, what are they going to do? Just put it in children when they're born? And everyone's just
Yeah,
going to have like
it's like a,
super intelligence? Like,
that's where the Black Mirror
I just don't get
episode
it. Okay,
part
so
comes.
say that all jobs have been taken,
Hmm.
and everyone's just kind of living to live and
Yeah.
enjoy life. What the hell do you need access to all the information in the world in your brain for?
This is, like I say it, and I'm just telling you the possibilities of it.
Yeah.
But if if it doesn't get to that point, if we don't get to some utopian society where no one is working and everyone just has money, and this kind of chip comes out and people
Yeah.
are being able to chip their brains and get smarter,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't take that chip, you are just generally going to be just dumber than the
Yeah.
rest of society, unfortunately. But, maybe you'll have pockets of people that just want to stay
Yeah, I
that
feel like
way,
there's
and
just
then
gonna be like there's just gonna be like separate groups of societies that are like
Joseph said, "Are you guys a couple? I feel like you guys hold back so much on the initiation question." The only
We're
reason,
married.
yeah, we're married. The only reason we held back is like we just can't say certain things. But what do we really hold back?
My mother listens to this. Is what my answer will be to you on that one. So
I
I'm
mean,
not gonna go too deep.
yeah. But I think to answer your question, it's all about communication with your partner about
Yeah.
exactly what. So like, let's say you are in a position where you feel like she's not initiating, and I'm guessing that's what you're talking about. You're wondering, or maybe the other way around, maybe she's wondering. It's just like you have to really think about, like, in those situations, what is the other person really feeling?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a I'm not initiating because I'm not attracted to you? I'm not initiating because I have all this stuff going on. And there's so much.
Honestly, I think it really comes down to like, what do you like? Like, do you like to initiate, or does that make you feel like you're the only one trying?
Hmm.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
curious. So, like, what is
Yeah,
your
what is
exact
it
situation? Like, what's
exactly?
the
What
issue for you?
Yeah, tell us your exact situation. We could answer the exact
Mm-hmm.
thing. Just yeah.
100%.
Um, Alicat said, "I don't want to give out much more out of respect." Yeah, she doesn't want to about the polyamory thing, but it's just
Oh,
natural, I
okay.
think, for women to be a bit jelly that your man can be vulnerable with another. He's never had an
Yeah,
issue making you
100%.
feel like number one.
Yeah.
Listen, if he's able to make you feel like number one, that's yeah, and you guys are happy, that's a great
Yeah.
great
To
thing.
me, like, what I would find not okay is the emotional connection with someone else. Because something that I've always said is that attraction is about biology. You know, that's something that's very easy to not care about. But I think there is definitely something to having a partner and just being like, you guys are each other's person.
Hmm.
And something that really I would think would get in the way of that is that other person having another person.
Right, but
It
to an
just kind of,
emotional level.
on an emotional level, yes.
Yeah,
So personally, I wouldn't be able to do that.
yeah. She said yes. She's spot on. Um, Joseph said, no issue. It was just a discussion that has come up in marriage after 13 years together.
After, this is what I mean.
Wow.
People don't people don't say it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things because like then once you start talking about that in the relationship, then it's just like distracts from the whole flow of the situation. Even if you've talked
That's
about
the
it
thing
2 weeks
about it.
prior, like it's still gonna make you think about it, and then it's like, what? Then it's weird.
Now it's like, oh, you're
Even
not.
if you say like, okay, now please, I would like you to initiate. It's like, okay, and then they go to do it, and it's just like, well, now I'm initiating. Like,
Yeah, it's gonna
that's
be in
so
your head that
weird.
like now I have to initiate. Now I
Yeah.
am the person initiating, and it makes it just not as
Yeah, that's why
sexy.
I think it should be a conversation that people have in the very beginning of a relationship. That way it doesn't get weird. Because that's the type of thing you could talk about. Like, oh, when you're with someone, like, what do you like? You know? Then it's not uncomfortable. Like, oh, we've been together for 13 years and I want you to start doing it now.
Yeah. IP said, what is your thoughts on a hush ring? Any
A
idea what
hush
that
ring?
is?
I'm gonna look it up.
You're gonna look it up.
This better
Um,
not be some weird shit. Oh, wait, I shouldn't be cursing. Sorry, TikTok algorithm. Um, okay, a hush ring. I'm so nervous for this.
it's probably not that bad.
Engagement ring given with no foreseeable intention of marriage. Wow, I've never heard of this before. It's given to so,
So you give an engagement ring,
but you're not
but you're not
actually.
proposing.
A couple has been together for several years, usually
SSA
with
where said,
children.
did you guys change the camera? It's so clear. I love the quality. Yeah, so we do the when we record the podcast, we do it on like the expensive cameras. But like yesterday, when we were doing the Q&A thing for the relationship stuff, that was just on her phone,
Yeah,
you know?
because the thing is, you can't trigger the scheduled event on the camera, like
Yeah.
on TikTok Studio with the camera. Like you can only do it with the phone. We're really
Yeah.
hoping that they
Yeah,
catch up
yeah.
to this.
So it stays with this.
Okay, so yeah. So I
By the
guess
way, hi SSA wear. That's
oh, hi.
she's gonna buy some stuff from
Oh
you.
yeah, I want that pink robe. And
Uh
like the white one too.
So what about the hush ring?
Okay, so it's hilarious because I'm thinking I'm not really getting what it meant, but like hush, like basically shut up about it. That's
Oh,
what it means.
wow.
Like it's to shut you up
So an engagement ring to shut you up about
about getting
getting
married,
married?
but you're not actually going to get married. So what is, I just looked it up on Urban Dictionary. Like, is this a thing? Like, are they doing it and being like,
Is
oh,
this supposed to
here's
be
a,
funny?
yeah, like, are they doing it like, here's a ring and they know that they're doing it to shut them up? Or is it just like this secret thing that they're knowing that,
Mm, yeah.
I don't know,
Uh,
the whole institution is so weird to me.
of
It was actually,
marriage?
well, yeah, but even like engagement, it was, oh, what was that? I saw something about it. Like basically a diamond company came up with the entire idea of an engagement ring.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
D said, "Are you guys engaged?" We're actually married.
Yeah, we've been married. We'll be married for 4 years this
4 years.
September.
September 24th?
This third, maybe the 23rd.
23rd.
We don't know. We got married in the courthouse. It's
Yeah.
quite informal. I was drinking water out of the sink
Yeah,
because
our wedding day was not, I mean, it was romantic in our own way. We just
I
went,
was really hungover.
yeah, we were hungover. We just
We had like
decided,
2 hours of sleep.
yeah, we just decided to get married and we were like, all right, we got
Well,
to go
for
to the
like tax
courthouse.
reasons and everything.
Yeah, and the night before that, she was like, oh, let's go party.
Yeah, so we partied with our friends at One Oak, which is where we met.
Yeah.
Don't judge us. Um, and we were out until like 6 in the morning or something, and then had to be at the courthouse at like seven
Nine,
thirty in the morning. No, it
7:30.
opened at 8, I think, and we had to be there before the lines.
Yeah, so we had like an hour of sleep and we were hungover. Not even
Yes,
I wouldn't even say hungover.
I
We were
don't,
still drunk. And
probably still drunk.
and
Yeah,
everybody in the courthouse was like in their dresses and like with their families and we're
yeah.
just with her mom just like looking like
I think we were wearing
degenerates.
our outfits from the night before,
Yeah.
all black.
And yeah, and
I
she was
looked kind of like this actually that day.
yeah, and then I guess the person officiating or whatever
Yeah.
realized how much of
Yeah, she
like
just did not
degenerates we
care.
were.
She
She was
literally was,
tying her.
yeah,
Yeah.
she was just like, "Do you guys like want to get married and stuff?" And like putting her hair up, and I was like, "Oh my God, just do it before I throw up." Um,
Yeah,
it was
that
bad.
that
And
was really good.
then we like were just like hanging out with my mom, and I'm like still hungover, and she's like, "Let's get a drink to celebrate." So then we're drinking margaritas at like 11 a.m., and I was just in the worst way.
Yeah, no, it was
But
it
the
was
weddings, okay.
beautiful, but it
You know
was
what I want
bad.
to talk about for a moment? The money that people are spending on weddings. A friend of mine spent $30,000 of her own money on a wedding.
Wow,
What
that's
is
crazy.
this?
That's crazy.
Like, are you the Queen of England?
Yeah, I mean, I dodged that one, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're so lucky.
Um, Karen said, I feel so drained in my relationship of 3 years. I'm struggling with anxiety too. What to do? I'm from South Africa,
We have like a lot of
23, and
audience info.
it's mentally and emotionally can't stand it. I really don't know what to do. I was raised in Nairobi, Kenya, by the way, so
Oh yeah,
hello, neighbor.
that's South. That's South Africa.
Well, it's Africa. It's
Oh
South
okay.
Africa. It's different, but
Well, as far as anxiety, and honestly, I feel like with anything in a relationship, like when you're feeling really drained, I think a lot of it is because there's so much, well, for one, like, the whatever toxicity is going on in the relationship, but also because being in a state where you feel like you need to make a decision is extremely exhausting. Like they say that you can only make like a finite amount of decisions per day. So if you're constantly in this state, it's a really draining activity to make a decision. So you really have to, I think, like take that pressure off of yourself if you're in a position where you're feeling like, oh, should I not be in this relationship? Should I be doing something different? Just decide, you know what? None of this matters. And what matters most is my happiness. And just give yourself a break from whatever, just kind of like set it aside. Like, I'm going to think about this at another time. Right now, I need to get myself in a better place because you're not going to have any clarity while you're drained and anxious. Like, it literally, it's like very clear studies on this that you're actually not able to solve problems when you're under like general stress. You're just not good at problem solving at that point.
It makes sense. Yeah.
So, and also then while you're doing that, like I've said, many times, meditation. I think one of the best kind of little tricks for meditation is don't think of it as something that you're doing. Don't be like, oh, I have to meditate. Just think of it as I'm going to sit here. Like I'm going to sit and relax. I'm going to get really, really comfortable. I'm going to just engage all my senses in this moment. And don't think of it as I need to stop thinking, because then you're going to be so focused on thinking that it's just going to, all you're going to do is focus on your thoughts. And then one little thing is like something that you can do is keep your eyes still on an object. There's something about your eyes moving around. You'll kind of notice that you're doing it with your thoughts. Like for instance, when you're sleeping, rapid eye movement sleep is like you're looking all around, like it's just kind of a reflection, like this really overt reflection of the subtleties that are going on in your mind. So if you make sure that your eyes are kind of focused in one place, then it's a little bit easier than trying to keep your mind focused in one place, from like wandering all over the place.
Yeah.
And just doing that like at least 15 minutes a day.
That'll help significantly.
Preferably in the beginning of the day, because if you wait until the end of the day, that's kind of good before bed. But the thing is that you're not, like throughout the day, you have so much built up stuff that then by the end of the day, those 15 minutes are just going to be spent on making a little dent in all the...
Yeah, if you're able to do it at the beginning of the day, it's going to feel like you just did a workout in the morning or something, because it's just going to be so much more peaceful throughout the day.
Yeah.
Jocelyn, responding to her, said, I'm focused on self-healing right now. Very similar situation to yours. Mo said, how can I make my husband stop being narcissistic? He's always throwing my past in my face.
So is it that he's throwing your past, like things that you've done that he doesn't like towards him, or things that you did before the relationship? Also, how does it tie into the narcissism? I know that like narcissism is something that people can work on, because really what it comes down to is being self-absorbed. And well, there's also the part where a narcissist is really focused on creating this image of themselves, and they get angry when you do things that kind of break down that image, or when things happen that break that down. But they can even be the type of person that says that like really pities themselves and is always looking for sympathy, and kind of not focusing on your issues and just more focusing on getting sympathy for themselves, because the common denominator with all of it is them focusing on themselves.
Yeah, for sure. She said his ways of always being himself, always right, and it turns it to me, I guess.
Yeah, the always right thing.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, say to him, like, I've had someone say this to me. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? And like I've said it before, like at that point I was like, like I want to be right. And I got to a point where I like matured out of that, and I was like, you know what is the point of being right all the time if I'm just ostracizing everyone because they don't want to be around me because I need to be right?
Yeah. You're usually wrong.
Oh, hilarious.
IP said, I'm 24. My boyfriend is 35. Don't you think he should know what he wants 4 years together? And he wants to buy a house. How much longer should I wait till I walk away?
Are you talking about he doesn't know if he wants to get married?
Yeah, is that what you mean? Are you talking about? getting married, or is he not committing in some other way? Jen said, "Hi, you just explained a feeling I have been trying to put a name on with my boyfriend. What should I do if my boyfriend showers me with gifts, but it seems like he belittles me?"
I was just talking about this topic. If what you mean by belittling is just making you feel like you're not as maybe intelligent or like self-sufficient or something as him, because I think men do this thing where they think of their woman as this thing that they take care of like a child, and then they just don't see really any issue in making them feel small, because they just think, well, this is a child, I'm a man, you're a baby, basically, and just not treating them like an equal. I mean, you gotta like talk about it. And also, the worst part of it is that I think it ends up making you change the way you feel about yourself. Because I think even the most like confident person can get almost like gaslit by thinking that, by like being with someone who's making them feel like they're not capable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if he's, it's a stark contrast, you know, showering with gifts and then belittling you. It's a tough thing to even put into perspective.
It sounds like manipulation to me. It's probably in one of those YouTube. You should look at his YouTube history and see if he's watching videos on.
I would suggest if you guys are having problems with your boyfriends and you feel like there's toxic behavior going on, look at his YouTube algorithm.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
if
Like,
we did an
show me
experiment,
your YouTube right now.
yeah, just show me the For You page. Let's see. I don't know if you want to give more. Oh wait, she actually did. But IP about the you know how he's not committing and he wants to buy a house. He said she's talking about marriage and he's waiting on the ring and she doesn't want a hush ring.
A hush ring.
She's the one that talked about the hush ring before,
okay,
yeah.
okay. So what, I mean, what does he say? It's so hard because I really do understand people not wanting to get married. And I do understand people wanting to get married, but I think you really need to figure out for yourself why you want to get married. Like, do you really feel like, have you had a conversation? Has this person said, listen, I want to always be with you, but I don't like the idea of marriage? Like, I can understand where someone would feel that psychologically having this paperwork that says we're together now, especially in, you know, a society where like 60% of marriages fail. I get it. So like, why is it that you want to get married? Like, what is it about that? Like, do you feel like you're gonna lose him if you don't?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Emily said, my boyfriend doesn't plan any dates, and I've addressed this multiple times and I gave up. Should I break things off or keep trying and have hope he will change and plan for me?
I see this so much. It's such a like,
Yeah.
to me, it's such a weird thing because it's like, how hard? How hard is it?
Yeah.
It's like, do they forget?
Is that what's happening? Is he planning something, or is he saying that he's going to do it at least, or are you talking to him and he's saying
That he doesn't want
no,
to
that
do
he
it.
doesn't
Yeah.
want to do it?
I mean, my thing, I'm weird. Like, I just like kind of don't care about that at all.
Dates?
Like, like who, like to me, I don't care like who's planning what. It's just as long as you're paying for it. No, but I mean, it's just like, to me, if I want to do something, I'll be like, hey, let's go do this. And as long as the other person is, you know, not doing it begrudgingly, then I feel like that's a really good compromise, especially for someone who maybe like,
Yeah. I mean, is it that he's being forgetful? Is it that he's saying no? I guess some more information
yeah,
on that.
more info.
Jen, about how, the boyfriend belittles her. She said, what should I do if I'm resenting him but feel like I need to stay with him because he financially, I guess, supports her?
Tim. Yeah, that's a tough one. I've talked about this before. Like, you have to
We've
be
seen a
really,
lot of this for
yeah,
sure.
but you have to be so careful with who supports you, because you are going to end up dealing with, for one, are you married? Two,
Boyfriend.
boyfriend. Oh, yeah, okay. See, that's actually something I was gonna mention to the other girl about marriage, is that is something that I totally understand marriage for, is if one of the people in the relationship is depending financially on the other person. Like that makes so much sense for the marriage, because then it's like you never know what happens, and you just don't want to feel like you are going to be left high and dry and broke one day when you're older and so far out of the workforce that you can't even get a job anymore.
Yeah.
But what was the issue again?
Oh,
I
that,
went on marriage
if
tangent.
she's resenting him, but
Oh,
feels like
right.
she needs to stay with him.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, you have to, I mean, definitely try and work on the relationship. Like, that would be the
Yeah.
probably first step.
And also with this resenting thing, I feel like, we talked about this before. Some men don't realize,
Oh, yeah.
they do
Yeah,
not
this was one of my, like,
understand.
extremely popular videos.
Yeah, they do not understand that your resentment is actually stacking.
Hmm.
And I know that might sound crazy
Especially when you're
to
telling
women.
them, but they don't understand.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you start acting normal to them, they
Hmm.
take it as everything's fine.
Yeah, because it's like, honestly, the way that men deal with each other, or the way I deal with my friends, for example, it's like if we're mad about something with each other, as soon as we're not mad about it and we apologize, we actually kind of forget about it.
Well, that's much
To it,
easier to do with a friend. Because
yeah,
the thing
right.
is, what I think resentment really comes down to is I could live a whole other life. You are taking my whole life up,
Hmm.
and with a friend, they're not doing anything like that. Like they could do something to you and it's like, okay, whatever, like, but it's not affecting your life in a way where it's like, if I stay with you, then it means that I'm not having an entirely different life
Yeah, yeah.
where they could potentially be happy.
But that's the thing, like, because of the fact that they don't understand that your resentment is actually stacking up. And I think they won't understand until you leave most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
like she says.
Yeah.
So, you have to really like hammer that down, which is, if he argues with you, if he makes you feel small or whatever, and he apologizes and you forgive him for it, just make a point to let them know that the apology doesn't just mean that it's, completely swept under the rug, unless something actually genuinely changes.
Mm-hmm.
Because in most men's minds, after the apology, you start acting okay again, and it's like a hard reset.
Yeah. They
Like
think everything's
the
fine
slate is
again.
wiped.
But women literally have like, it's inside of you, like you look at that person and you're feeling like almost subconsciously, sometimes very consciously, the effects of that. Like you don't want to be nice to them. Like it's not like you're keeping tabs, but it's like, I mean, it's just natural. I mean, people actually hold emotional traumas like in their body. And that's just like kind of how it feels. It's just like, it's just inside of you. Like you remember all this stuff.
Hmm.
And I think the worst part is when you like get like a memory of it, but it's really not until you have seen real change that you're able to let go of the resentment. Because at that point, it's not resentment. It's like it's not about the past. It's about the present. It's what they're oops, sorry for that.
Currently doing.
It's what they're currently doing and what you know that they're going to do again.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, you have to like you really have to kind of decide, is this something that I can say, okay, everything else is really good. I don't like this one thing about this person. I've tried everything. They're not changing. Can I have this one thing where I decide I'm not going to stay mad about this and I'm just going to be okay about it? Because I really do think there needs to be compromises, but not with things like belittling. Like
Yeah, that's too much.
that's a lot.
Should never feel that way.
Yeah. And you like, so make that decision. And if you decide this is not the way I want to spend my one life that I have, then you have to be upfront with them and you have to be prepared to leave.
Yep.
And, you know, sometimes like money is not always the thing that's going to like keep you happy. And someone else, you know, might be able to support you as well. Or you might figure out something that you can do financially that, you know, you'll just be a lot happier than being with someone that you resent just because they're paying the bills. Like at the end of the day, or like at the end of your life, when you look back on it, will you say like, yeah, I was like the bills were paid, but I wasn't happy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. When you look back on your life, for
Yeah,
sure.
because that's what's going to happen eventually.
Yeah. Jocelyn said, my boyfriend constantly gets defensive when I try to tell him something is wrong in our relationship. He says it feels like a personal attack. I've even worked on my delivery and he still gets triggered.
Yeah, I see it all the time. This was another like video that I did because usually you'll say something that you're upset about and then they just start talking about things that they're upset about. You know, part of this could be a little bit of narcissism, like I was saying, because they have this image of themselves and they just lash out when that image is, you know, like if you're saying, oh, you did something wrong. But I'm curious, like, what your, like, for one, does he lash out in other ways? Like, can you think of other times where maybe he, like, has this idea of himself or, like, wants other people to have this idea of himself and gets upset when it's, broken down? But also, if you feel like it's not the case and it's just this one little thing, then like I'm curious what, like, I know like working on, you said you've worked on the delivery, but can you give me an example of like how you might deliver some criticism
That triggers
that
him.
triggers him? And also, okay, so another good thing I think is to,
I mean, it's like you say these things and it's just so crazy to me. It's like you have to tiptoe around this random anger, right? Like it's a
yeah.
little wild. Yeah. Damn.
Okay, so another good thing is to ask him what, like, are you saying something specifically that is making him feel, you know, because you can work on delivery all you want, but everyone has their own things that they take offense to, and you might
Yeah.
not mean it a certain way, you know, like you kind of have to like have a conversation when you guys are both in a good, like, say you guys are in a good place and be like, listen, like, I really love when we're in this place. I hate when we argue. I don't want to go back to that place. What can I say? Like, if I do have like something that I have an issue with, like, understand that I'm not trying to be offensive. I just really want to always be in this good place. And I'm just not capable of not saying what's on my mind. So, how can I deliver something to you in a way that you're not going to react that way?
Yeah. Mad Max said, I hate to admit, but the majority of women only want a man who makes bank. And then he goes, I have a comment about the liking a photo. Go ahead and ask your question about that too.
Yeah, in the
But
meantime, I'll respond to. Yeah, I mean, I don't find it that I know what you mean. I do think the majority of women are looking for men that make a lot of money. I mean, not all of them. They're really
not
not
all
all of
of
them.
them. Not all of
The
them.
loudest ones, like on, like, not the loudest, like, you know, yelling, but a lot of what you see on social media and everything is like it's become really normalized. We talked about this in one of the first podcasts actually.
Yeah, it's basically like you see the flashy stuff on social media is what gets the attention. The romantic stuff, the regular
Yeah.
relationships, you post that doesn't go viral. But what goes viral is like, oh, my boyfriend delivered 1,000 roses on Valentine's Day.
Exactly. And
And
then girls look at that and they're thinking, oh, well, that it, all these girls have it, so that's the norm.
but it's not all of
And
these
they're not
girls have it.
posting, they're not talking about the things like, you know, like this girl is saying, I'm now financially bound to this guy and he's an asshole.
Yeah, because they're probably assholes.
That's
And
what a
also, what are you
lot
gonna
of
do
them
with a
do.
1,000 roses? That sounds like a nightmare. The Karen said the leaving part is the hardest after a few years, and you only have this one person around always.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I mean, this is why people are in bad relationships because, like, leaving a relationship is like
It's like they're
splitting
dying.
yourself in
Yeah.
half. Yeah,
It's
like,
like
it's
they're
just,
dying.
it's such a huge decision.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's a huge decision, and you have to realize it's kind of a slow decision. And something that I've noticed my whole life is that you don't, it's, you spend all this time angsting about the decision, and then all of a sudden it just hits you one day and you're done. So you kind of don't even have to worry about it. And almost the worst part about it is how much time you did waste thinking about it, because really in the end, it was just this split decision where you just couldn't take it anymore and you left.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I would say, like, don't put too much pressure on it, because at some point you're going to know
When it's time to
when
leave,
it's
you
time to
mean?
leave.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you just will eventually just get numb to it.
Well, that's not good.
No, just like, no, I'm saying numb enough that you're not hurt by it.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Mad Max said, "How is liking a photo on a public media disrespectful?" Well,
Okay.
let's break it
Why
down.
are you doing it?
Yeah.
What is the intent? Like,
Mm-hmm.
the argument that all men have said to me is it's not that big of a deal. Oh, I'm just liking. What is the intention behind it? I don't want to hear anymore that it's just not a big deal. And
Yeah.
oh, there's nothing, I'm just doing it automatically. Be
Because
more
it's not
self-aware than that.
automatic. There's no reason for you to do it. You're not getting anything out of it except a dopamine spike by liking an attractive girl's picture and seeing the little heart go up and
Yeah.
hoping that she sees that you liked it.
Yeah,
Because
you're
that's what
basic. It's that,
that's
and
your
it's like
emotion.
you're getting the same spike as if you went up to her and flirted with her. Not the same,
100%.
but that's why you're doing it.
You can look. There's no reason to like.
Yeah.
But also the disrespectful part, like she was saying, comes from the fact that if you're in a relationship, then you're conveying to another woman. And he just said, so I guess Maxim magazine subscriptions are out of the question.
Honestly, I
That's
think that's fine.
just looking.
That's just
That's
looking.
just looking. That's totally fine. But you're in a relationship and you're liking a picture and conveying to that other woman that you find her attractive and that you're interested in her and you like her
Yeah.
enough to double tap on her picture.
Yeah, and you're
it's
not doing it
disrespectful to
like
your girl.
you're doing it behind her back. Like, you think, oh, maybe she's gonna find out, but you're sitting there on your phone alone trying to interact with this other girl.
Yep.
Don't tell me that there's nothing to that. There is.
You're not liking the photos on the magazine. You're
Yeah.
not. That's what you
You're
just
not-
said.
you're
You're not
not
double
interacting
tapping.
with
You're not
it.
interacting. You can never talk to the girls.
Yeah.
You can leave a comment on the girls on Instagram. You can't leave a comment on the girls on the magazines
Yeah.
posting their pictures.
And the other thing is, like, other people, okay, so the way that Instagram works is that, say it's like there's 3 people. It's the 2 people in the relationship and then the girl's friend. Oh, and the person whose picture it is. So say the girl's friend is scrolling, sees the picture, she's friends with her friend's boyfriend. She's going to see you liked it.
Exactly.
Now the girl looks like an idiot.
Yeah.
She looks like the dumbest thing for being in a relationship with this guy who's the guy who's in someone's likes.
If you like the photo on Instagram of someone with millions of followers, whoever you're following and whoever's following you sees that you liked that picture.
Yeah, it'll show up.
It shows up. You show up first.
Yep.
So all your girl's friends are seeing that are also following that girl are seeing your name on there.
Yeah.
And now your girl looks like an idiot.
Yeah, it's so
It's
disrespectful. And I don't want to hear that they don't notice, because I was looking at my comments on Instagram of that video where I said that, you shouldn't be doing this. And a lot of the people were saying, like, oh, well, what about famous, people on Instagram? Like, they're not noticing, like, the likes or whatever. So I see in the comments, someone was like,
Yannette Garcia.
I didn't know who she
15 million
was.
followers.
Yeah,
You
she
probably
has
know
15 million followers. She's a, like, weather woman, like, whatever, like, really attractive girl, specifically with pictures that a lot of people's mans are probably on there liking. She reposted my video.
Yeah.
Okay. So literally proving my point that it doesn't matter, even if it's like a famous person, they notice and they think it's gross.
Yeah.
You don't want to be with the guy
And you don't want to be that guy just for what? For double tapping? Come
Yeah,
on.
like, what? You're not getting
anything
out of it.
There's nothing
That's
you
the
get
other
out of
thing.
it.
It's just like, what are you fighting for this for?
Yeah. Jocelyn said, might as well go up to a girl in real life and tell her you like what you're seeing.
Exactly. I like what I see is exactly the words
Yep.
that you're saying in that moment.
Elle said exactly. Looking isn't the problem. They're literally engaging with the post. Yep. Giselle said, my BF has been watching Corn. Yeah. Since before we started dating. We've been dating for over a year. When he first mentioned it, I told him I wasn't okay with it. He said he would stop. I would ask him and he would deny it and swear to me he had stopped. He would try to brush off the conversation.
Honestly, I really don't see that big of a deal with it. Like, I think it's kind of one of those things. It's like a private thing that, you know, people do. And I don't think it's really like the business of people's partners. And I know that's kind of a hot take. But and I can see how like, this is my opinion. I can understand people not feeling that way. Especially because it does have some psychological backlash. Some people are desensitized to physical intimacy with their partners because of the things that they're seeing in these videos and stuff. But other than that, it's kind of just like just this stupid biological form of release that's needing to go on. It's just like, really, to me, like,
Doesn't matter.
yeah, it's like, unless you feel like this guy is like in love with
But
these
yeah,
girls,
if it really bothers you, yeah, then I guess
yeah, but
tell him to
you
stop. But it's
might,
probably really hard to stop if he's been doing it for
yeah,
a long
if that's
time.
just like something he's used to doing, and then like being told not to, then he probably like makes it even more like,
Yeah,
to
because
me,
that's
my
probably the
advice,
biggest dopamine spike you could possibly get.
yeah, I mean,
So
it's like an addiction that people have. So if you feel like it's not like an issue, like other than you feeling a little upset that he's like attracted to other girls, like, then you kind of just have to be like, he's attracted to me, he's attracted to these girls. It's like, but with me,
unless
it's
it's
an
leaking
emotion.
into your relationship in some
Yeah,
way.
if it's affecting your relationship in some way other than you feeling like kind of like jealousy in the situation, then I would say maybe just let it go and just be like, just understand that it's literally like people's brains reacting to shapes. It's literally shapes. Like, try and think of it that way because that's literally all it is. I was saying yesterday on a live that like women will literally have the same
Excuse me.
release of hormones when they see something that's shaped like a baby, like a teddy bear or like a bald fat guy sometimes, or even a drawing of it, a drawing of a teddy bear. A woman will have like this release of like love and affection and care, the same that because it's just a biological programming that we have. You see this shape, you should take care of it. So men have, and even women, we see, oh, broad shoulders, like they can lift things. They, they'll pass on good genes to my child. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like they literally see, you know, up here, and it's just like, oh, for feeding a child, and
Yeah.
the
As long as it's not affecting your relationship,
yeah.
it's fine.
Sorry, was I going on very long about that?
Yeah, as usual. And Mad Max said, he's responding still. So everyone else posts their pictures on a public media because they want the attention. See me, look at me, I'm beautiful, but don't like. I mean, why would people post pretty pictures on social media for likes? Why do you have to be the guy that likes the pictures?
Okay, yeah. So here's my thing. I do understand the argument that if your partner doesn't feel comfortable with you posting pictures for other people to be liking it, then okay, have that conversation. I think some of the pictures is just like, okay, as long as it's not like extreme thirst traps, and it's like, calm down.
Right.
I can understand that, but still, it is not the same. They are not interacting with these people. Like, you can post the picture and say like someone else likes it. The girl is still not interacting with them. They're not making their man look stupid by just having it there. I mean, you might feel that way. I do understand some guys feeling like, I don't want my girl on the internet scantily clad. I get it. But some guys feel like, I don't mind having my woman like seen this way by other people.
I don't care at all.
Yeah, like some people just don't care. And that's completely fine. But it's not the same thing because you are not, it's the interaction is the issue.
Yeah, and honestly, like you might be under the impression that girls posting pictures at the beach or something like that is to get a bunch of dudes to like their pictures.
Yeah, but it's really not.
Really not.
Another thing I was saying in another video is that women a lot of times just want to see it. Like, you know, we have the grid there and we're just like looking at this best version of ourselves and it makes you feel really good. It's really not so that guys will interact with it.
Yeah.
For the most part. There's some girls, yeah, you know, but
He goes, for example, I post videos of my cooking and I get likes and I don't think, oh, they want me. It's really not
Okay,
about
well,
that. It's just the question is, why are you liking pictures of attractive girls
uh-huh.
on Instagram? It's not about cooking or anything. Why specifically are you liking pictures of random attractive girls on Instagram?
Yeah, like tell me, like actually
Like
answer the
there's a
question,
real
why
question.
are you doing it?
Why are you doing it? If anyone has any more questions, let us know. We'll be on for probably another 15 minutes here. Sada said, do men feel the same about girls liking other guys' thirst traps?
Do girls
Do men feel the same about girls liking other guys'
thirst
thirst
traps? Are you sure it's other guys?
Other guys' thirst
Sorry
traps.
guys, this is
So like guys
real for
posting
me.
thirst traps?
Yeah, I mean obviously if a girl is liking a picture of some guy like shirtless or something, like yeah, you're showing interest. It's the same to me, that is
Yeah.
the same thing.
Right, for sure.
Posting is not the same as the man liking, but you liking another guy's like
Shirtless picture.
thirst trap. Yeah, like that. I don't think that's cool at all.
The
I would
fact that
never do
men
that.
are posting thirst traps is so gross.
Yeah,
to me.
I know. It's just like don't even.
Jesus Christ.
You know, I saw this funny thing that was like, you know, you'll look at this guy's picture and think like, ooh, he's attractive, and then you just stand there and think of him like set up with a tripod taking pictures of himself, and you're just like, ugh.
Jesus. Mad Max said, in my opinion, I like pics to offer them a compliment. That's all. Okay.
Why are you
In that, hold
offering
on.
them
In
a
that,
why
in
are
that
you doing
situation,
that?
if you were with your girl in public somewhere and you saw an attractive girl, would you feel comfortable with your wife there or your girlfriend there saying, I think you're beautiful, and give that girl a compliment?
Yeah, because what you're like, you
'Cause that's
care
exactly
so
what you're
much
doing.
about this girl that
Her
you're willing to
feelings and
sacrifice the feelings of your woman
yeah, you
to
want
make
her to
this
feel
feel.
this random girl feel good
Because
about
trust
herself.
me, this girl doesn't feel good about herself at that point. She feels like you're a creep because you have a boyfriend. Trust.
Girlfriend. Yeah.
Girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
Maximilian said, how should a conversation between people in long-term relationships go in relation to expectations?
well, what is the expectation? Long term?
Long-term relationships go in relation to So you're talking about if like talking about marriage in a long-term relationship? I think it's such a weird thing for me because me and you have been very upfront and I feel like people just aren't after they're in a relationship. They're so afraid to talk about things like this.
Yeah.
It's like if you wanted to talk to me about something like that, we just talk about it. I have, in my eyes, once you're in a relationship and once you're official,
Like
you should just let it all out. What
Yeah. Like, what are you doing
what's your
wasting your
plan?
time?
Yeah,
Like,
don't waste your time.
to me, like a relationship is not this thing that you're like just playing around with each other. Like, it's serious. Like, unless you wouldn't, like, if you wouldn't spend your whole life with this person, why are you in a relationship?
Yeah,
I don't get that.
yeah, 100%. And you should be able to say, as soon as you're in a relationship, you should be able to say those exact words with no repercussions because you've already committed to each other. So,
Yeah.
there's no dancing around it and trying to figure out what the other person thinks. The conversation should just be very just rude. I'm joking. Michaela said, what do I do about my extreme insecurities in my relationship? I don't want him to look at others.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, it's just they're just seeing shapes. See, you didn't like my rant,
No,
but
it
it
was a good
is.
rant. But I think what you say about jealousy is the big thing. It's like when you're looking at another girl and you're being insecure. It's like you're saying like,
Yeah, it's like saying that I wish I was her. So the core of it is that you have to just really think to yourself, would I really want to be another human being other than myself? Like, and if that's the case, then ask yourself why. Like, why? Like, what are you doing? Like, what is going on? Or what are you, like, how poorly are you treating yourself that you would want to be someone else?
yeah. Leora sent a rose. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Um, Amanda Forster said, "How would I bring up the Instagram likes conversation without seeming like I'm attacking?"
Maybe just send him my video. Be like,
That's a
ha
good
ha ha.
one. Just
What do you think
yeah,
about this?
yeah, that's a good one. Just send her video.
Yeah.
It has, I mean, her video has what like 4 million views right now, and a bunch of women agreeing.
Yeah.
So it's a
So,
perfect example of like, here, look at this
mm-hmm.
video and see the comments and tell me what you think
Yeah.
and how you disagree with millions of women.
Yes.
Um, Mad Max said, I don't feel 1 ounce offended or bothered if my significant other finds another guy attractive. I'm comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah. And
That's great. But in this situation, it's not about you, it's about your girl. How does your
yeah.
girl feel? Is she comfortable enough with you doing that?
And that's also not
And
about
is it
attraction, it's interaction.
yeah, and is it that important to you to offer a compliment with a like if it makes your girl
Yeah, this is what I don't understand.
upset? That's all it
Like,
is.
people are so concerned with it's just such a lack of self-awareness to me. And it's just this complete, like, all you're doing in that situation is being a narcissist. I'm sorry, that's it. You're being selfish.
Yeah,
End of story.
exactly.
Because all you're saying right now is, I don't care about her feelings. I need to double tap on something and I need to be right and I don't care about her. And there's some things that are like, oh, okay, like you shouldn't be upset about it, but no, this I'm
Yeah,
not bending on this.
yeah. Leora said, and she sent a 2 finger hearts. I don't know what any of this stuff means,
Finger
but
hearts?
yeah,
Oh,
thank
wait,
you.
like this?
Yeah.
Is that a
It
thing?
looks like
Sorry,
it's like
guys.
offering a heart. We're old people. We're not.
Yeah. 33. I don't understand technology.
But thank you. She said, how do you know if your marriage/relationship is worth saving?
I mean, sometimes it's just a matter of like, I mean, really like picture your life without this person. And if you can't feel happy with that, and sometimes you need to take some space. Not like a break. We talked about this yesterday, like the difference between space and a break. Space is like, I'm going to be over here for a bit. I'm not talking to other people. You're not talking to other people. We can even talk to each other, but getting the reality
Hmm.
of not being with that person and even trying not to talk to them. Because I find that's something that's really big. Like, if you go out in the world and do like a trial run of like, what would it be like to not have this person in my life on a day-to-day basis, and you miss them and you just feel like things aren't right without them and they're the person you want to talk to, then for both of you it can kind of solve a lot of problems, because you could just decide, you know what, we want to be happy together and we're going to do whatever it takes to do that. Especially for the side of men, I feel like they're so comfortable living in this state of, well, whatever, it's not that great, but what do you expect? And
Yeah,
women more so want to actually be happy.
yeah, for sure.
So I think the reality of that separation, it can be really enlightening on whether or not you want to save it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because if you feel
A break
free,
that's
then
not a break. We gotta come up with a different name for that. It's like
trial
like a
separate. No, trial
I think
separation.
trial separation is like an
That's
actual
a thing.
thing.
Yeah, it is.
No, like
Space. It's just
just space.
space.
Yeah, like just space.
Hmm.
That's all it is. Um, Amanda said that's a great idea to send the video. Um,
I'm actually making a video for another girl so that she can
send
send
it.
it to her boyfriend.
Jocelyn said advice for an anxious avoidant relationship. Anxious avoidant
Okay, we have
relationship.
to look into this because this is now the second time I've heard this term. Um, is that
It says video quality will be automatically adjusted. No, it's fine.
okay?
Okay.
So, I'm not sure what it means. And I've had people say it. Like I was saying yesterday, I don't like the labels So I don't, that's why I didn't become a therapist or a doctor actually. And I just stuck with nutrition because I got to do all my own style of therapy without having to be like, oh, you're bipolar, you have like avoidant attachment issues,
Yeah.
But let me know exactly what it is.
Amanda said, thank you guys so much for what you do, for
On.
sure.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing the lives every Wednesday at 6 and then Thursdays at 7. So, join up.
Yeah.
We have fun doing this,
Yeah, we
and
do.
it gives us content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's only so many issues that we've dealt with on our own
Yeah.
that we can, we don't know what's going on in everyone's lives, but we do have very good advice.
Yeah, I think so. Michaela sends a heart.
Thank you.
So yeah, when we started this podcast, like we were thinking like, oh, we're gonna get guests and whatever. But then it was just like, we don't want to.
Yeah, we don't want to interview people. That's not what it's about. I
Yeah,
don't
and
think
we
people
know
need to
some like
hear.
famous people, and we had Caleb Simpson on there who's like millions and millions of TikTok followers, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't want to, I feel like everyone's just interviewing everyone on a podcast, but no one's really saying anything.
Yeah.
I guess you're learning stuff about people, but it's all
Yeah,
just
but
the
it's
same
kind of like, who cares?
regurgitated content that no one
Yeah.
cares about. So when we started doing the lives, it's just like, okay, like
We're helping people specifically in real time with their issues, and because problems are so like
varied, they're
they're so
varied.
varied, but they're so universal. So it ends
Yeah.
up helping other people. So like you guys sharing your issues, you're helping other people.
Yeah, because the videos come from that, and then
And
she
then
gets
people are
millions of
listening on
views on that, and
Spotify.
then
Yeah.
we're breaking up a lot of relationships. Great job.
Yeah, I've had some people say that I saved the relationship, and some people say that I, like,
Ended
men
them.
being mad, like, oh, my wife left me because maybe not their wife.
Not
maybe
their
it
wife. It
was.
was like boyfriend or
Yeah.
something. And Mad Max still doesn't understand about the complimenting someone. He's like, complimenting someone can make their day. It's not about you.
It's
It's
not
about
about
your
her.
woman.
It's not like
It's about your woman. It's not about
yeah,
the other woman.
and it's about respect.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, but you like, no, like you're not making someone's day by having like their boyfriend.
Regardless, even if you were, doesn't
not-
matter if your woman is upset by it.
And this is
period.
the topic. This is the topic that the girl, well, maybe you're the boyfriend of the girl who I'm making the video for. But she was saying that her man is not on her side and takes the side of other women. And it is just not okay. Like, that is your person. That is your partner. Like, that's why they call it your partner. You support your partner. Like, if you don't care about their happiness, then let them go. Because if you care about everyone else's happiness, go be with everybody else.
For sure. Yeah. Anya said, hi, I subscribed on YT.
Thank you so much.
Um,
Yeah, well, get us out of the angry men algorithm on YouTube, guys.
Oh,
Start
man.
commenting nice
Jeez.
things from the perspective of women, because and on
oh,
my
you want to see
and
some
go on my
toxic
Instagram.
men? Go on her Instagram
Go on my
account
Instagram.
and look at the comments on her reels.
Yeah.
She gets like millions of views on her reels too, but it's flooded, which is the nastiest men. And with open public profiles on Instagram, it's insane.
But yeah, also our Instagrams are a lot more like personal.
Yeah.
I like being friends with the audience on there too, because on TikTok I don't. There's really nothing personal on there.
Yeah.
It's all just the podcast content.
Deandra said, have you both considered dating each other? We're actually married.
We are married,
Yeah.
my dear.
That'd
be cute though. Podcast
years.
romance.
Yeah. We'll get divorced and do it again. My BF, Aaliyah said, my BF wants to live together in our hometown, close to friends and family, but I took a job 5 hours away.
I'm assuming this is like long distance issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's so rough. Like when you love someone, but you just have like kind of like different ideas of what you want to do with your life.
Yeah.
It's awful.
How old are you guys? That's
another
question,
thing. Because sometimes like you can go off and live, like I've had situations like that where, I live my life for years and then I kind of come back to that person.
Yeah. Let's see. Sorry, guys. How long to date before becoming official?
That really depends.
How long did it take
But I'd
us?
say Like a month or two?
a month. I think it was like a month.
Wait, so October, 2 months. Exactly 2 months.
2 months.
I think 2 months is a good time, to be honest. I think a month is really short. I think
But we were seeing each other every day.
eventually, yeah.
Yeah, like
Not right away. But we were also open about the fact that we were seeing other people
initially,
at first, which I think is a really good thing to do if you can handle it. I was actually impressed by the fact that he was able to like be okay with knowing I was like going on a date with someone else. He would literally be like, "Oh, have fun," and I was like, "Okay."
I didn't care. I mean, I was. Well, it's one of those things. It's like I've always said you. This is gonna sound bad, but if you are dating, like let's say you're dating and you're not committing, and then I was dating other people, you were dating other people, and then we just realized like we didn't want to see anyone else.
Yeah, it just got to this
That's
point
just
where I
like
was like, I called him and I said, should I not like go home with this guy? Like, I have a date with this guy. Like, should I not go home with him tonight? Like, and you're like, yeah, probably not. And
yeah,
then, like, you know,
that was that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Other than you telling me that I'm your girlfriend.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I told her she was in a relationship.
Yeah. I was like, already.
How can I learn how to communicate better? Jen said.
Okay, one book that I would really recommend. It's not about communication, but it's about understanding other people and where they're coming from. And I think that is like a really helpful way to go about it. It's called Loving What Is by Byron Katie. Basically, the concept is like flipping things around to see how you do the things that you accuse other people of doing. In the simplest way I could put it.
Just to get a perspective.
Yeah, just a perspective, because you're going to communicate better when you are coming from an empathetic state where you just see where they might be coming from.
It's called, she's asked what it's called. It's called Loving What Is by Byron Katie.
Mm-hmm. And do you know of any
about communication?
communication? I feel like you know more of like business communication.
Yeah, business communication. But
although if you want to manipulate the what is it, flip the script or
there's, like if you want to just get better at communication in general,
isn't it like conversation, like,
well, flip the script is really good. There's also How to Win Friends and Influence People. That was a pretty early one. But these kinds of things, like, yeah, they tend towards like people read it to be able to manipulate other people, but it's also just, it is the way psychology is. So it's just a good thing to understand.
Yeah. Something I will say though, another note on how to communicate better. I think that people get into conversations with the argument in mind and not the solution in mind. They don't start it thinking, okay, like you have to picture the way you want it to end up. You have to picture, okay, this person is going to understand what I said.
Cool.
This person is going to understand what I said, and it's not going to be an argument. And, there's only so much you can control. And then, so once you have that in mind, it kind of puts you in this emotional place where you are better at framing whatever it is that you want to say to them. So from that place, be like, okay, like, what can I say to this person that they are going to really hear me? And I think you get to a point where you really know a person and you can think of their response. So like you kind of practice it before you start talking about it with them and be like, okay, if I say this, what are they going to say? They'll kind of know. So that's, I don't know, that's my tip on at least how to not cause an argument.
Yeah. Deandra said, don't forget to date each other while married. Yeah, we do that 100%. All the time. Yeah, we're really big on that, big proponents of that. Like you should never.
Yeah, just like still having fun.
Yeah, still have fun, still have dates, and still be attractive to each other. Like that's like the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's so easy to just like get comfortable, especially when you live with someone. It's just like, I mean, it's so hard. It's like you want to like be comfortable when you go to bed and like wear sweatpants or something, and then like wash off your makeup and do your skincare and keep your hair like.
Well, you do that.
Yeah, but then I kind of like fix my eyebrows like before I go to bed. like brush my hair and things like that. Like I'd like to wear a silk wrap around my
That's
head.
right. I've never seen you without makeup. That's crazy.
Yes, you have.
I'm
Get out of
joking.
here.
So Aaliyah, about the 5 hours away situation. She said, "Do I move back without job security?" And she said they're 27 and 29.
I mean, it really depends. I mean, sometimes, relationships are just more important than money. But then sometimes your life and your goals is more important than a relationship that isn't something that you want.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna know. Like, that's the type of thing. And I always say, like, kind of like meditate before you come to, because you get so wrapped up in the issue. You just can't come to a conclusion. And another thing is, like, think of how you want to feel. Like, start from there. Like, I want to feel happy. Like, what is going to make me feel happy?
Yeah. What is gonna make you ultimately happy? And not just in the short term either.
Yeah.
Marco said, "How do you solve problems when it comes to family and relationships?" So this is something we're going to get into at some point
Because it
because
seems
a
like
lot of
this is a
people
really
keep
big
asking.
issue.
Unfortunately, we do not have first-hand experience on this because.
I mean, you say unfortunately, but
Fortunately.
fortunately, we don't have.
Well,
But
unfortunately, because we can't
yeah.
talk much about it
But
because
I
our
do
families,
I had
love
recommended to
us.
someone yesterday that they see if they can go to therapy as a family and because I think especially like older people are really stuck in their ways and they don't want to listen to their kid. Like they just think, oh, like you can be an adult, but they're still going to treat you like a child and think that you don't know anything. So maybe if they have another like adult, maybe that like find someone that is close to them culturally and age-wise, gender even, have that person say, listen, like this is not healthy behavior.
Yeah.
And I'm talking here about if it's your family that is causing problems in your relationship. Maybe it's your partner is causing problems with your family.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen that go on too.
Yeah.
But I do think having a third, which is another thing to me about making these videos and doing this podcast and everything, it's so helpful to have an outside perspective and to show the person that is causing the problems, like, look, it's not like you against me in this situation. It's like, here's millions of people that agree, millions of other people that are in this situation. Like, it's not just me saying it.
Yeah, for sure. Jen said, any other books on how to communicate feelings? I'll think
Radical
about.
honesty.
Oh yeah, radical honesty goes a little too radical sometimes,
Yeah, it
but
gets like really
it gets
extreme.
real
It's like, tell your
radical.
dad that you're sleeping with someone. I'm just like,
Yeah,
okay,
but
sorry.
it's a good book to show you the complete other end of the spectrum, so you could land somewhere in the middle.
I'm looking at our
But
bookshelf right now
but
to see
another
if
one
there's
is
anything up here.
The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. It doesn't give you like a very practical thing, but it helps you understand how people are influenced, how people are persuaded and things like that. And now, you can take from that and actually kind of come to your own conclusions based on that and the way that you actually talk, right?
There was a book that I read, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember if it's applicable to this, but it was called Crucial Conversations.
I don't remember that.
Maybe just take a look at it. I don't remember offhand if it's going to be like a little too business oriented. But you can also shoot me a message and if I think of something else, then I'll let you know.
We've read so many books.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll go through our bookshelves. Big Chris said, so listening with an open ear to understand your situation instead of visualizing the outcome. To better understand instead of visualizing it. Yeah, right.
Well,
you agree?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know if what you're saying is that you should be open instead of having an outcome in mind. But what I meant before was that, and that is a point, you want to be open to the other person, because I think that's something a lot of people do. They just have it in their minds like, this is what's right. And if this person is not agreeing with this, then I'm not going to listen to anything they say. And I think we've had a conversation like that today on this podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I mean is just visualizing like this is going to go well. we're
Mm-hmm.
both going to hear each other. Like, what state can I be in? So that is what's accomplished.
Yeah.
And also, I think starting with like, hey, I really want to have a conversation where we're both hearing each other. I'm not coming to you with an argument right now. It's
Yeah.
like really important to do sometimes.
That's good. Mad Max said, "My significant other has no issues with likes. She will have a problem if I try DMing the person." Totally.
If they
That
don't
if they
care, then
don't
that's
care, then that's
fine.
fine. But that's your partner, and that's not every woman,
Yeah.
and it's not most women.
Mm-hmm.
The vast majority of women disagree.
Yes.
And we did the study,
Yes, I have
and
studied.
there's 4 million on TikTok and like almost 4 million on Instagram, and
Yeah.
they're all agreeing.
Mm-hmm.
Most
Yeah.
probably like
There's
90% or something.
there's some people, but it's nowhere near the amount of people that are like,
Yeah.
if I open my phone right now, it's just constant shares.
Yeah. Um, Anya said, when did you guys start to merge your income, like shared bank accounts or businesses, if you do?
That was like after we were married,
Yeah, after we were married.
for about a year after we were married.
Yeah.
No, actually beforehand, we did have, I put my savings into an investment account that we both had so that my savings could start making money. And that was before we were married.
Right. But then we merged everything
But then everything, like I don't even
at some
have
point. I
a
mean, the business
personal,
is the only, like my business is on a separate account because my business is with my brother. So that's not merged into
yeah.
that bank
But
account.
we have a merged one and I don't have a separate one anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, just when you're sure, I guess,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think
like,
after marriage. But also you do have to be careful with that because then if you have money that you want to be separate, it needs to only be in your name, I think, or
yeah, and you can have a joint bank account and have separate accounts inside the joint bank accounts.
mm-hmm.
Like there's a whole thing. Um, let's see. Sorry. How to motivate, and Marco said, how do you motivate your partner, basically?
Not by belittling them, I will say.
Yeah.
It depends, like motivate them in what way? I mean, I'm assuming maybe
You mean like
financially.
financially or
Um,
business wise?
I think just having a conversation about like, what is it that you want in your life? Like finding out what motivates them so you can remind them of that. And also leading by example.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then also, something I've talked about before is there's some people who are just
Financially, he said.
right. And you have some more, he's going to be doing some more videos about things like that because he just has like a lot of information there that I don't have.
Yeah.
So on his personal TikTok, and are you going to put it on the YouTube at all?
Yeah, I'll do it on YouTube and TikTok.
Um,
But yeah, I think when it comes to like motivating financially, like also, does she want to do it?
yeah, like,
Or
are
are you trying to,
you, like, where is it coming from?
yeah, where is that coming from? Is she wanting to do it and unable to find motivation? There's a couple of things.
Yeah.
And maybe a little more info on that.
Mm-hmm.
Leora said that she remembers the girl you were talking about with the mother-in-law that refused,
Oh, really? Yeah.
and her mother-in-law refuses to go to therapy, and she's not allowed to be near her children because she abused them. That sucks.
That is just so awful.
Terrible.
Yeah, my best friend actually, she keeps her child separate from her mother, and my mother did the same thing. It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah. Uh, Jen said, "Do you have an email I can send you messages?" Working on that
I do
with our
have
new
one, but I
site.
actually am changing it.
Also, she
So
does not check her email. You
I'm
should
so bad
you
about
should you
emails.
should
Just
just DM
DM
her
me.
on
Yeah,
Instagram.
DM me on Instagram. It's linked to the TikTok, but
It's
it's
just same thing,
Cassia
Cassia
West
West.
on TikTok.
She's on Instagram all day, so
Shut up. I'm not.
she also said my boyfriend is really dry. He doesn't realize, and how do I get him to realize? He's
He's
saying
really
there's
dry.
yeah, he says there's nothing to add, like basically, I guess. He's boring,
Oh, he's boring.
maybe.
Hmm.
It's a tough one. It's a personality trait. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I guess you gotta like dig deep and find out what his interests are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe he just like you guys don't like. Luckily for us, like we pretty much like the same
Said, but
things.
with his friends, he's so social.
yeah, I mean, maybe there's just things that he like. Do you know what they talk about? Are you like
Yeah.
listening in here?
Daisy said, "Hey guys."
Hey, Daisy.
She said, "How to deal with narcissists."
Oh, yeah, we've been talking about the narcissist. I think something really interesting to understand about them, like I was saying before, um, is that it's all like they can be, it can come out in so many different ways. Like they can be wanting pity, and really just everything comes down to like it's about themselves and it's about the image that they have to create about themselves. So I think one thing to maybe do to deal with a narcissist is to be like, hey, like I like who you are, like I respect, like make sure that they feel
You want to
like,
appease the narcissist?
well, I mean, there's narcissists that are, they're not always malicious. They're not always aware. They're not always trying to be that way. Sometimes it's just, they were raised by someone who didn't give them any attention, any
She's saying, I
affection.
mean the bad ones, pathological liars.
Then get them out of your face, Stacey. Please get them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
To deal with those guys is to not
just,
deal with them.
yes, exactly. Because, because
Some people are so deeply into it that there's no coming out. And also they don't want to come out.
yeah, no,
So,
they don't, yeah, no.
yeah.
I mean, if it's just toxic, just absolutely do not engage.
Yeah.
Especially like I was saying, they like enjoy seeing you pissed off, so don't give that to them.
Jen was saying, when we talk about his interests, I'm not dry, but vice versa, he's dry. It's neglectful, I feel. This is a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things that it's like sometimes men are just not expressing what's on their mind, or like they're, maybe unhappy being in a relationship, but they don't want to say anything. So they just do things to kind of ruin the relationship and sabotage it. Or maybe he's just boring. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it seems more like you don't really want to be with him at that point.
Well, she said that she doesn't earlier in the
Oh,
podcast.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
Or she's having doubts or something.
right, yeah.
Yeah. Camila said, I don't know how to pinpoint what makes me unhappy. Right now, I feel so insecure in me as a person.
I mean, that's the thing about happiness, is that it shouldn't be about one thing or another. It's really about just what it is. Like, you don't have to be happy or unhappy about a specific thing. And if you start looking for issues, you're going to find them. You kind of have to let go of all of that and just realize that happiness is, it's just this intrinsic emotion that you can experience when you let go of all the crap that's in your head and all the stories that you have going on and all the ideas that you have of yourself and your life.
Yeah.
So once again, meditation, and you'll start realizing that it's, it's not a conditional response. Like you don't have to, it doesn't have to be about something, but don't go looking for the problem, because you're going to find it.
Yeah. Daisy said he's out. LOL. I just love asking that question. TikToker said how to deal with a partner, male, who argues logically instead of with emotion. Yeah, I mean this is all men.
Yeah.
Or most
Well,
men.
it is until, well, that was one of the things I talked about, that they compartmentalize emotion, whereas women have emotion all throughout their brain. So we incorporate it in our conversations and everything that we do. So they, they think it's so great that they can have conversations where there's no emotion and it's just logic. But but then once they get mad enough,
then it's all emotion.
Because they just tap into the emotion part, because it's just like, here's the emotion box, here's the logic box. So if they switch into the emotion box, but I would say in dealing with that, like explain to them the difference. Like be like, listen, we're set up differently as a man and a woman.
And logically, he should understand that.
Oh, perfect. He'll be like, oh,
well, that makes sense.
Great information. Yeah, but just say like, hey, listen, our minds work in different ways. This, like, imagine you were emotional about this. That's how it feels for me.
Yeah. Uh, Daisy said, I find it so interesting how some people have no empathy or respect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you can learn to a degree. Um, but yeah, some people are just really not born that way, especially, women are biologically inclined to be more empathetic so that they can take care of the baby and everything. And men are kind of biologically inclined not to be empathetic because they were going out and killing animals and killing each other to protect the family.
Yeah.
So that's just not a trait that they needed. So it really does take them, like, you need to be with someone who cares enough about your happiness to just make the effort to do, like, you can say to them, hey, like, just say this. Like, if I'm feeling upset, say these things to make me feel better. You don't have to feel the empathy that someone else would feel, but here's
Hmm.
how I would like you to address this.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Um, Jen was saying, is there anything I could do to change that? Because he's certainly not boring when it comes to his friends. I think you should just talk to him about it and see what's going on. Like, does he not respect your interests or something? Or,
Yeah, like
you
I mean,
know,
I guess if there's just other things going on in the relationship, he's just going to constantly associate the
yeah.
interaction with whatever bad is going on in the relationship.
Yeah. And are your interests like knitting or something?
Stop.
I'm joking. Um, Azra said, is it a valid excuse for a man to tell you he can't talk much because he's going through a hard time? I think so.
Yeah, I mean, that's not how they process emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Men actually process emotion by doing something active, not by talking. It doesn't really work for them. They need to be like solving a physical problem or like something spatial. That's why a lot of men actually play golf. Uh, it's just like it kind of helps them think, like doing something that involves that spatial
Yeah.
activity or whatever.
Right, right.
Whereas a woman needs to talk it out.
I pace around the house. That's
You
my
do
thing.
pace. You
I
pace and bite
pace.
your nails.
I pace and bite my nails,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Hey.
it's interesting. It's interesting to know that. But yeah, it's valid.
Marco said how to get away from narcissists when you're already attached.
Well, I think one way, like if you're just really sure that this is bad, to me, like a good way to get rid of the feelings of attachment is to just constantly think about the things that you hate about them.
Yeah.
And that might sound bad, but I think because people tend to like romanticize everything, especially when you think of losing someone, then you just like, have this whole montage of all the things you love about them.
Mm-hmm.
But just realize like if you're physically intimate with someone, your body does like releases chemicals to make you attached to them. So
Yeah.
like this isn't a choice you're making, this is just biology.
Yeah.
Um
The only way is just to zoom out of it. Like
yeah,
just to
yeah.
zoom out of it and look at
And
it
just be
like
like
a
if my friend was being
was
treated
telling me this, yeah.
like being treated this way, you just be like, oh.
Exactly. Camila Toro, about she said she was insecure or feeling insecure and trying to
Mhm.
pinpoint the happiness. She said, I want to find myself and be better. We have to wrap up here in like 8 minutes, by the way, guys. I want to find myself and be better because I know right now he's distancing himself because of my dependence.
Mm.
I'm just scared of not being so intertwined with him in a sense.
Yeah, you have to start doing things to like create an outside version, like an outside of the relationship
Mm-hmm.
version of your life to
But
focus
but
on.
also like Kasi keeps bringing up like we can't stress meditation
Yeah,
enough.
it's
Like it
so
will
like,
help you profoundly.
mm-hmm.
Just
Like in ways you'll
15 minutes a day.
never understand.
Yeah, you will not understand until you
Like
do it.
you'll feel like this is just the end of the world, this is the whole thing, and then you meditate for a while and you just literally don't care.
Yeah.
Because it's all just the emotions are just based on what the
Thoughts, yeah.
information that's going into your mind,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're interpreting it with thoughts, and then you
Yeah,
have emotions about it.
exactly.
That's all it is.
Aaliyah, we'll get to just a couple more questions. Aaliyah said, did Kasi ever feel like losing, did you ever feel like you're losing yourself dating someone slash approaching marriage?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like,
Oh, me?
Well, I mean, yeah, like there was times where I felt like maybe I wasn't doing the things that I wanted to do. So then I did them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, luckily I'm with someone who's supportive and wants me to do the things that, make me feel like myself and,
Mm-hmm.
um, but you also are someone who supports like you like who I am as a person. Like
Yeah,
I was very much myself with you in the beginning and vice
for
versa.
sure.
So
Yeah.
like we kind of like celebrate ourselves. Whereas I was in a relationship in the past where I was being a different version of myself. And he really looked down on who I used to be, like, partying and doing this and that, being like a free spirit. Like he didn't appreciate that about me. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely felt like I was losing myself in that relationship.
Right.
But like, yeah, you got to be with someone who like really appreciates like all the parts of you, parts that,
Mm-hmm.
someone else wouldn't like.
Yeah, and you should find that out right away,
Mm-hmm.
very early. So just a couple more questions. But if he doesn't talk, what if he doesn't talk to you at all for 4 days in a row because of what he's going through? 4 days in a
Okay.
row, that's a little
That's
much. Yeah.
that's a bit
You
much.
should just tell him how you feel. Like you just have to tell him that it's bothering you
Yeah.
and and you want to be there for him, you know? But it
Yeah.
is tough to break through that sometimes. But yeah, I think if you just tell him how you feel, not to say it in a way of like not to burden you anymore, but like I
Mm-hmm.
would like to be there for you
Yeah. Yeah.
and see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Daisy just said a quote here: "Women fall in love with what they hear, and men fall in love with what they see. That's why women wear makeup and men lie." I like it. Uh, Jocelyn said, "I love how you guys keep explaining the differences between men and women. It's so insightful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you."
It's like that was that's almost how this kind of started blowing up was because
Yeah,
explaining
the
like the
differences. Yeah,
psychological differences. Yeah.
because people don't seem to
They
like
don't understand
go
unless,
past.
I
You
mean, you
know.
don't know that it's even a thing. Like, unless
Mhm.
it kind of falls in your lap or you like think to do research on it, you're not gonna know.
Yeah. All right. Just three more questions,
I
and then
think
we
you've
gotta.
said that for the
I
last
know. I feel
hour.
bad. Tiff's question has to be the last one. But
Okay.
Fetty said, "What's the best way to meditate or best techniques?" We have two different ones. She has a very particular one. For me, it's just observational. So it's like just sit there 15 minutes. Don't try to think like, okay, I'm meditating now or whatever. Just like watch your thoughts and just really like not attach yourself to your thoughts, but just like watch as they pass through your head.
I know something you had also said you have done in the past is categorize or just say like it
Yeah.
was like a Buddhist thing, I think that you
Yeah,
had.
it's like the core of meditation is the watching, right? But if you like, well, you could also check out my book, Modern Buddhism, on
Mm-hmm.
Amazon. It's like number 6 when you type in
Yeah.
Buddhism. But you can basically, what the Buddha did back in the day was he did this thing where he categorized when he was meditating, like you have a thought and you could put the thought in two different buckets, or you can make three different buckets in your mind, right? And say like one bucket is like this is a good thought that's good for my growth, and this is a negative thought that's not good for me. Let's
Mm-hmm.
just say two buckets just for the sake of this example.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time a thought passes in your head, you watch it, you observe it, and you just place it into each bucket. And what you will realize slowly as you do this is that just the fact that you're watching those thoughts form, they're just going to become less and less and less
Mm-hmm. It's
until,
almost like you're emptying it out.
yeah, it's like you're emptying out your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll hit this point, maybe, a week into doing it or 3 or 4 days into doing this, where for probably the first time in your life, you'll have no thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll freak you out, but it's a really good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd say for me, I had just talked a little bit about this before. So for the sake of those that are going to be listening to this on Spotify, I won't repeat that point. But there's so many. Oh, and speaking of books, I finished writing a book that's like
Just
mainly
needs to be edited.
about,
Yeah.
well, it's mainly about meditation. and it's just in the editing process, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
But one tip that I would say, I'll go off of what you said about the categorizing. So something that I have found with that categorization is that it helps you not go down the path, because it's really hard to just watch the thoughts, because you're always going to attach a little bit and start like snowballing with more. But if you do that, it just keeps you from going down the path. So it just like swipes it away, and it's like, okay,
Right.
next. So my version of that is recognizing the categories that you have. So to me, it's like a song that's playing, rehearsing a conversation, remembering things that are like happening. And it just forms this awareness of what are thoughts, what is this automatic activity that's going on in my mind, and takes away the personal part of it where you feel like, oh, these thoughts are important. So then when you kind of like throw that into like, okay, that's a rehearsed conversation, and then you like wait for the next one, and then it comes up and you just throw it in that category.
Yeah.
It just keeps you from, and yeah, like you said, then it's slowly just all of a sudden it's like quieter.
Yeah. It's about quieting your mind. And when you get to that, then you'll actually be able to think clearly without bias,
Yeah.
So second to the last question, sorry guys.
Oh my goodness.
How did you get so good at communicating and talking about these topics?
We've both separately read, like we've both deep dive into psychology, like well before we met each other, like, which was I remember he came to my apartment one time and he like looked at my books and he was like,
you read all
"You
these
read
books?"
these? Like, because it was weird, like, you don't always like meet people that
are well read.
Yeah, or just like into that same kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, I was always, and we were both always just interested in psychology for a very long time.
Yeah.
And, just to better our lives, I guess.
Yeah.
And then when we got together, that's literally all we talk about.
Yeah. Just basically psychology in some way or another.
What you guys are hearing is what we talk about all day.
Yeah, we would have talked about it anyway.
It's just like, that's it. And Tiff, last question, sorry guys. I don't feel like he really listens to what bothers me without him saying I'm trying to argue.
Yes, all the time. This is
a video that you're doing, yeah.
That I am doing?
I think so, yeah.
Is it? I might be. If it's not, I will do one. But it's kind of what I talked about with like how they just bring up, they finally say what's on their mind when you bring up what you're upset about, because they're constantly trying not to have an argument. And it's just so silly. Wait, isn't this the last video I did?
Oh yeah, it is the last video. She
Yeah,
just did. This is the last video on her TikTok.
Yeah, the most recent one on TikTok. So I would say take a look at that. But basically, yeah, they're just trying not to start an argument, and they pride themselves, like I said, on the fact that they're not bringing up what they're upset about, and like, oh, they can handle it. But it's just like, you have to explain to them, like, this is not helping.
Yeah.
Like, not saying it is just building resentment. This is not productive.
Sure.
But I mean, you could say to them, like I said before, like, approach it with, I don't want to start an argument here. This is not the purpose. The purpose is to make our relationship as good as it can be, because I want to be happy. I think you would want to be happy too.
For sure. Yeah.
Let's just have a conversation.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing to wrap that up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna sign out here, guys. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks for the hearts the hearts and the roses to everyone that gave them.
Yeah, and all the questions.
And all the questions, yeah.
But we will, like I said, be going live Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesdays 6 o'clock, and then Wednesday 6 o'clock, like kind of like a quick Q&A type of thing. And then we'll be doing the podcast live like this on Thursdays at 7. So yeah,
we'll see you next time. And if
you guys think about questions throughout the week, just write them down and
write
come
them
on
down
and ask
and
us.
come back on live.
Yeah. All right, that's it.
Thank you, guys.
Wait, Katsu's got to do the sign out now because this is for Spotify and YouTube. Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You gonna do it?
I don't even remember what the sign out is anymore.
I think it's like, society's.
Oh, I can't say it on here.
Can't say it on here.
Well, society's messed up, but we're working on it.
Yeah. Thanks for joining, guys.
Thank you, guys.
And live was